My dear Bagginses and Buffins.
By the blood of our people, are your lands kept safe?
I see in your eyes the same fear that will take the heart of me.
So do all who live to see such times.
By all that you hold dear, this good earth.
There's some good in this world, and it's worth fighting.
It's weird.
But it is funny that he's like, because it actually surprises me how much public support there is for this.
Right.
Like this war. Even like you're supposed to we have this impression that everyone here is anti-elf, but it seems to be like a lot of them are like, no, we're gonna go fight for the elves.
And Farazan was the one to get them on board in the first place.
And Farazan's the one saying now that, oh, maybe there's some people against it, we shouldn't go. But it's not the case. That's just his idiot son.
His idiot. Did he ever ask his son why he was fishing in the middle of the night? I'd like to. Where's that scene? Where's the scene where Isildur is talking with his dad, and his dad goes, "What were you doing on those docks in the middle of the night?" What did you really jump in to save Farazan's son who was fishing? Where was the fishing boat? We never found the wreckage of a fishing boat.
I was fishing.
Oh, that
you should have a scene like
that should have
never
been.
fished
You're
in
right.
your life.
You're 100% right though. The way you said it, it should have been. It should have been just like the Gollum scene. What were you doing? I was fishing. So, like this is why the plots are so goofy. Like this show, even with all the lore changes, you tighten up some of these plots. It's a much better show. I don't think you get nearly the amount of hate, even with the lore changes. So this is what I'm hoping for season 2. Okay, so all right. Galadriel sucks at politicking. All right, now we get we get another scene with Celebrimbor this time, and Elrond has to once again say he's not going to break his oath and tell anyone about Mithril, while telling Celebrimbor that he has seen the Mithril. I've seen it. They have it. I can't tell you about it though, because that's breaking the oath, and I don't know what to do. And then Celebrimbor is like, tries to talk him into breaking. He's broken the oath. What are we doing? Why are we talking about this? Like, I get it. It's a sweet scene where he is evoking his father, and like you said, like there are, if none of the other stuff had already happened, it's a nice scene. But Elrond has already said everything about the Mithril. Like, there's nothing left to say about it. I'm just confused about why he's still being cagey. But yeah, so that, like, Celebrimbor talking about Elrond's dad and talking about the sacrifice he made. I mean, I'm still confused about elf lore because I don't quite get why it's such a sad thing when they go to Valinor. We've talked about this already, so we don't have to get too much into it, but it does. I guess it does talk a little bit about the lore here, which is neat as well. So yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to add about like, obviously, like the music coming in there is pretty nice. It's a good touch. Yeah. You have anything else to add with the Celebrimbor scene?
I'm just trying to see. I know. Yeah. No, I don't. No.
All right. So we
see
get
Halbrand being super happy again.
Yeah.
How he's in the blacksmith shop. He's like, I just want to be a blacksmith my whole life.
He is in his element. He loves it. He doesn't want to go back. And this is one of those scenes where I look at this and go, in the end, I know this is a fake out. It's a cheap fake out. If this show had been perfect, except for this scene, I'd be upset. Like, I hate fake outs like this. It's not fair because he's clearly doing it to the audience. Like, we're seeing the inner monologue essentially of this character. That's what these scenes are supposed to be. Like, when you're reading a book and you get inner monologue, that's what this is. The actor is acting the inner monologue, which is, I'm finally at peace. This is where I want to be. And if he's faking it, he's faking it for just himself. We're not there. So I don't get it. But there is a fun moment, and this is probably what I think we talked about this before, but I just caught it again, wanted to bring it up. The quote is, "You don't know what I did before I ended up on that raft." Cut to a scene of the orcs forcing humans to kill each other. Literally, as he's saying the line, it cuts from him to what's happening with the orcs. So there's that.
Okay, I think I missed that. Yeah.
a little bit of a hint there. But again, I like this Galadriel Sauron scene. I know what happens eventually. I think the scene could have been done better though, because it almost has like him trying to bring her into the darkness. They just don't have all the dialogue quite right. Like there's moments where like he's asking her to like what are you afraid of? Like who was that dagger for? What, like who killed your brother? He's asking her like to reveal these like deep-seated issues within her. But then they don't really have any follow-up for it. I wanted this to be a little more like don't copy it verbatim, but more like join the dark side type of thing from Star Wars, where you're constantly like pushing her buttons.
It's like, what? You can't be a Sauron. No.
Well, okay. Not exactly like that, but just like constantly asking her to like describe like the pain she felt when her brother died, and the anger inside of her, like it must be burning through you to get back to like just try to like.
Well, I don't know if it's this episode or the next, but he even apologizes like, "I'm sorry."
That's this episode. It's right here.
This episode.
This is what I mean.
I'm sorry. So he's literally apologizing for what he literally did.
Right,
to
right.
her brother.
I hate that. It's Sauron. He doesn't apologize. He wants. So this is the scene where in later episodes, I'm going to refer back and say, this is what's supposed to set it up, where he is pushing her buttons. He's tapping into that hatred she has. They have a really weird line about how he's like, you're just about vengeance. And she's like, no, I'm not about vengeance. And he's like, all right, then why are you still chasing Sauron? And she says, because I can't sleep at night. He's all I think about. And it's like, okay, this is good. We can like use this. It's kind of weird because that is vengeance. Like you do want vengeance, and you're just describing vengeance in a different way. But all you're thinking about is Sauron. Constantly like this darkness is feeding you. That seems like something he could latch onto. He then, like you said, apologizes and agrees that he will like come and help.
Actually, I'm gonna say this, I mean, we're jumping ahead, but like it seems like he's kind of in that last episode. He seems like he's like kind of romantically interested in her and wants her to join him. I'm gonna like straight up say, why does he like her?
Well, so this is
she's not likable.
No, but she is to a Dark Lord, right?
Okay. So he actually likes that. He likes her
because we know what he's eventually going to pour into the ring, which is his cruelty and his malice and his will to dominate all things.
And he sees this in Galadriel, and he wants her by his side.
Yes, and that's why I think they screwed this scene up with the apology. He should have just been constantly egging her on to describe how she felt losing her brother, to describe the pain she felt when she couldn't find Sauron way up north, and maybe even have him let like a thing slip or something, but the audience catches it.
Like a Palpatine's trying to seduce Anakin.
Yes, like that, or like Count Dooku trying to kind of seduce. He doesn't really seduce, but like just how he's talking with Obi-Wan, right? They have Obi-Wan captured, and he's like explaining why he's changed teams. Something like that. Just something where he's talking about the failures of like the elves couldn't bring you happiness, and now you've abandoned them and you're on your own, and like maybe there's something that, anyway, there's something more like that, and they have it going, and then they stop, and he apologizes, and he's like, all right, I'll come and help you make this right, and we'll go over there, and I'll be the king or whatever. And I'm like, they messed the scene up. Like the scene could have just been him building up this anger inside of her, and that would help us sympathize more with her. Instead, we leave the scene going like, oh, Halbrand seems pretty chill and pretty cool, and like we know he ends up being Sauron, spoilers, but like I don't know, it's just such a weird scene. He apologizes to her, and then when she leaves, he tears up and he's not looking at the camera, but the camera's lingering on him. Again, This is a cheap fake out for the audience. He's not tearing. Like, why is Sauron tearing up? Does he actually like her? Is he actually just a happy little blacksmith now? Like, what the hell is going on here? It's so confusing.
Yeah.
And this is why I was saying it can't be Halbrand for those scenes. He ends up being Sauron, which means these scenes are fake outs, and I don't like it. They need to explain these scenes, to me at least, in the when I read the script. They better show, like, you know, he's upset that he has screwed up his chances of being a blacksmith, or screwed up his chances of being saved by the elves, or something. Like, there must be some explanation they have for why he's happy about being a blacksmith to himself and sad about Galadriel's misfortunes to himself, no one else. So yeah, that's my little I you know, we're gonna get a lot of comments saying how much they agree with that portion, probably, but I it's just so frustrating to me.
I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but like, Sauron's just like a totally evil character in the other.
Right. There's no
Lord of the
redeeming
Rings.
quality, and here
Yeah,
he's
Here
just a
he's
guy.
Like, here he's Walter White. I'm just gonna keep saying that.
Yeah, like he's here. They are kind of painting him to be some sort of like renegade rebel type guy. Like, he even, like, the way he flees, like, when we get there eventually, he flees the elves. Like, the way he does that, and the way he, like, makes his way to Mordor and all this, like, there's an element of a rogue, like someone that kind of can, and like an underdog almost. But we know this guy's not an underdog. Like, this is what's crazy to me. It's such a weird dynamic they're setting this guy up for. But anyway, I getting down this rabbit hole with this Sauron guy. So we now have a little bit more of a dark scene here. This is the actual situation where if you want to join the orc forces, you are forced to kill another human. Now, I don't know how you feel about this, but should the show... this show's never going to do this, but should the show lean more into these darker points? Because the show's probably already lost a lot of people from season 1. Should they lean more into these darker, more nasty situations, or should they kind of bring it back to like an action adventure?
I mean, I think we need to kind of explore, like, now we know, like, Waldrick will do really bad things to survive.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, I think it's interesting, and I even remember...
And it's also, like, Adar promised them that they would live, so he's kind of like, well, this guy's a shady dealer.
Yeah, he promised.
He's, like, he's not really... you're not all gonna live.
Yeah, and maybe there's, like, a missed opportunity or some fun lines where it's like, I promised you would live, but not all of you.
Yeah, they could have faked it out. Like, you remember... it would have been bad, but...
I mean,
people would have hated it, but remember in
how can they hate it more than this?
remember in Pirates of the Caribbean when they needed the blood sacrifice to, like, put the pirate gold back in, and you get this vibe that they're, like, about to, like, slit her throat over the chest of treasure, but they literally just, like, give her a little prick and it's a drop.
Yeah, that's a good fake out. That's a brilliant fake out.
It's not a big deal.
I like that fake out. That's a fun one. Here it doesn't really work. It would make the orcs seem silly. I like it in
blood
Pirate.
sacrifice. Hello.
Yeah.
That's the blood sacrifice.
Well, because like earlier, like when we first met the orcs, they definitely had a scarier personality than the orcs and goblins we meet in the original trilogy, and I thought that was good. I thought it was a good change to have them because most of the time they're fighting regular people.
Yeah.
They have to be scarier than the orcs that the Fellowship was. The Fellowship dominated. Like they were unmatched. I bet you that Fellowship could easily handle like based on the in-movie versions of them, they could easily handle the 9 ring wraiths. Like they just dominated.
9v9.
Yeah. heck, 4 of them are hobbits. Who cares? Didn't Aragorn fought like 4 of them or 5 of them?
I mean, that's considered to be like kind of a plot.
I know. I'm saying in movie world though. Obviously that's probably not right, but still, I like in the movies they dominate, right? They're unmatched. Like they're counting their kill. Like it's fun. We can't have that here because we don't have those guys here. So sure, Galadriel could maybe do that if she had a fight scene like that, but the rest of these people, these normal humans, and even like regular elves, they probably need to have a bit more of a fear from these goblins. So I like that. How far is too much? I personally think they should lean into the more darker, sinister aspects, but this is supposed to be a show for everyone. They're trying to get as many eyeballs on the show to recoup that $1 billion cost, so they're never gonna like lean hard into like the gore and the evil aspects. It's gonna be just kind of implied. Like even here, you don't see the kill. So Waldrig is given a knife.
Show that.
Yeah, Waldrig's given a knife, and then he kind
I'm
of...
not sure I wanted to see it anyway.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm not saying I want to see it necessarily, but
Yeah.
I think that is a way to differentiate this show from other just fantasy shows that you can get on any of these networks at this point. But yeah, they're never going to do that. Not with something like Lord of the Rings.
It's kind of I don't know. Maybe Rowan could have gone out in a better way. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Like-
sad. Like he goes out in a
Like
pretty pathetic way.
Like have Theo have to kill him or something.
And actually, if you think about it from a story from his point of view, he goes out with Theo, then leaves Theo, then decides to join the orcs. Goes back to the orcs only to get killed.
Because he's scared of the orcs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So he thinks if I surrender, I'll be fine. Yeah, it's quite a sad tale for him. Oh well, he's gone. He only had one really good line, so we're not gonna miss a ton. He only had what was it, knife ears?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the racist guy.
Yeah.
You people. Yeah, the you people line.
Yeah. Oh, what do you mean, you people? Okay. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look at our shorts. There's some fun ones there. Okay, so Bronwyn is now thinking about joining the orcs. She had this whole... People should just watch our channel and not watch the show, and then be like, "There's no way. There's no way." So earlier, a few scenes earlier, Bronwyn and Waldrig are fighting over what they should do. Waldrig is saying we should join the orcs, and Bronwyn's saying, "No, don't do that. That's bad." Now, let's join the orcs. I don't understand this. Even if you want this character to have these moments, don't make it like, don't make her be so hard against an idea and then so hard for an idea. Have her work her way through it with like, I don't know what to do. Have it be a moment like that. Here it's like, well, we have no choice now. Gotta join the orcs. You literally said that's not even an option 2 scenes ago. Like, I don't understand. So there's that. Okay, I don't know if you have any more to say about Bronwyn joining the orcs, because we don't. She just complains about the fact that they're hopeless. And then we get back to Durin and Elrond. And I like, before we get to all the other stuff in this scene, I really like the fact that when the shit's going down, he steps up onto a rock. So that he's like eye to eye with Elrond. I like that. It's a nice touch. Okay, yeah, now we can get to it. All right. The dialogue is absolutely awful. Why do they do this? Like, Gimli never did this. Like, what? You can have weird sayings, but not every other line is some food-related weird. Give me the meat, give it to me raw. And then his wife is like, "Are you calling a dwarf a liar in her own home? That's a recipe for bad gravy." Like, what's with these food recipe lines? Like, they don't need to talk about food all the anyway.
Yes. He starts it with enough with the quail sauce.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Give me
Even
the
here,
meat.
quail sauce.
Give me the meat. give it to me raw.
To be honest, this seems more like Hobbit lines. I'm not gonna lie. I could see Hobbits saying this because like they have a lot of food culture stuff going on. The dwarves don't like. They have more mining like they should be more mining references. Anyway, look. We've been over this. Obviously, leave your comments down about how much you hate these lines. I love reading these, but like the lines that suck. So with that out of the, unless you want to keep going, we can keep going on these lines if you want. But they're awful. I don't know. We've done it. We've talked about how bad they are. Not we've done the first
Well,
review.
it's funny how Elrond, when he, because he looks distressed, and when he's giving Durin the meat, he says, he instead of like, he just goes in and says, "I came here to betray you, to take the mithril." But he
Yeah.
And Durin's like, "Why?"
Oh, and then he goes, "I didn't know it at the time." Yeah, the way he talks is
like,
so convoluted to like, do you want to lose a friend? Like this is how you fucking lose a friend.
Like, you can pad in this a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, you can offer you're sorry and you wish it didn't happen this way, but you also were betrayed. Like he was also betrayed by his own king and Celebrimbor. So the way he goes about it, it's like he's almost wanting Durin to hate him. And
Yeah.
so there's that. There's that line plus the meat line. Now, before we get into some of the other stuff that's going on here, I just want to say it's kind of interesting how they even bring up this table dealy, because like they're just watching the table be carried away, which again makes no sense.
And then the one elf kind of drops it.
Yeah. And they're walking. We did a calculation once, so they're walking a long way.
They're walking all the way to Khazad-dûm.
And
I mean, I think that's the joke.
No, but like it doesn't make sense.
That they're actually doing it.
What? What? Why? Why? Oh my god, it makes no sense why they're carrying it. Wouldn't the dwarves come and do it better? Like, you know what I mean? Like, wouldn't they send? Oh, you're more than welcome to take it, Durin. Like, the dwarves will carry it properly. The elves can't be trusted to carry such marvelous stone. But also, where's like the animal help? Like, why don't they lay it on a sled and pull it?
I don't know.
So they're walking all the way, first of all, and then also. We can talk more about the whole scene, but like at the end of the scene, Durin then says, "Come on, let's go. This sunlight is like making me queasy," or something like that. So now they're gonna walk with the stone in one day. Like it's
yeah. There's some crazy fast travel going on.
Like
here.
they're not. It's almost like they're going like next door. Like that's how the writers are thinking about this. It's kind of insane to me. But I will say I like.
It would take a whole book to describe this walk.
Yes, it would. It did. At least half a book.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing I have here is I do like how they do the scene. So they first have them like standing watching the stone tablet move. Then when Elrond's got like some stuff to say, Durin goes and stands on the rock to be eye to eye with him. I just like the movement they have here. And then Durin, once he's heard it, he steps down and sits on a stone. And then Elrond comes and joins him. And I do like how they kind of drag it out, how he's kind of relishing this moment that the elves need him. It does kind of fit his character, even if it is dragged out a little bit too long. So I do like some of this scene. It's just like just how they handle this whole subject matter it's kind of weird. Like you got the stone tablet joke happening, then you've got the give me the meat, give it to me raw line. Then you actually have some decent lines once Elrond starts talking normally. When he first starts talking, like you said, he's making no sense. He's saying, "I lied to you, but I was lied to, so don't hate the messenger," kind of like it's such a weird way of phrasing it. But once they get going, it does become a decent scene. but still, that's a weird. It's just weird things like that. Every scene, there's like a weird thing that we gotta pick up on. It's so, why can't we just have a good scene? Can we have one scene that we don't like, find something that like that kind of irks us? One thing about this scene that I don't know if you caught, it's so quick. If you look away to take a note, you'll miss it. As we pan away from Durin and Elrond leaving behind the stone, we get a shot of the Elven King overlooking them from a cliff top.
Yeah.
Randomly for like a second. That makes it seem like he's a villain. I'm just gonna put it out there. The way they film that, they're saying he is the villain. He's like looking down on them. He's
Sauron. Yeah.
Yeah, he's Sauron. He's the one corrupting the trees. Like I don't understand why they make this guy so weird. He's got no people skills. He's such a weirdo.
This guy goes into single combat with Sauron and goes toe to toe.
This guy? No.
Yeah, this happens. This is in the
Halbrand's gonna mess this guy up. That's what's happening. Elrond's gonna mess this guy up, and Elrond is a politician. So yeah, I don't know why they're making this guy out to be so bad. Okay. Now we get some really stupid things. Like the ending of this episode's awful.
So this is how we're back at like Halbrand. He's looking at his crest.
Yep.
Then he's summoned by the queen.
Yep. So what does he do?
Leaves the crest behind.
Yep.
But then he fake out. He takes the crest.
Yep. Here's my note. You ready? This is what a first-year film student would do in their short movie. They would have a thing, and they're like, he puts it down, and he's about to go, and then he grabs it back, and it's epic. No, it's awful. Why did he put? He's like looking at it, and like he's feeling it, and like then he's like, okay, I gotta leave this behind. Nope, I gotta bring it because it doesn't make sense to leave it behind because it's the crest of the fallen king. Like, it doesn't make any sense. The scene is dumb. Cut the whole scene. I can't even redeem that scene. All right, next scene. All right, this is a kind of a fun scene. Elendil to Isildur. Report to the Horsemaster. Isildur. Okay. I thought I was in cavalry.
You're a stable sweep.
But that line sucks because go see the Horsemaster. What do you think cavalry means? Like, either way, you're still dealing with horses. Why wouldn't you think that's what that meant? Like, they screwed that up. I'm sure they screwed this up. Like, they had a different version because it shouldn't be. I thought I was in cavalry, right? Like it should have been. Oh, am I in cavalry? And then here's a mop and bucket. Like, that should have been how it goes. Not I thought I was in, because you wouldn't say that.
Go see Filch. He's gonna, like, from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Go see Filch, and he's gonna give you a broom. Well, I thought I was in cavalry. You are. You're the chimney. You're the stable sweep.
Yeah, like yeah. So you can either do it that way, but if you're gonna say go see the horse master, the leader of the horses, you're gonna think you're in cavalry. Like, you're already. Oh, I am in cavalry. That would have been a better way for that scene to play out. The joke is he barely makes it on the ship. He's a stable boy. But the line is just weird. Anyway, why do they do this? Why can't they do one scene where I have nothing weird to say? I don't get it. Can I have one scene? We'll see next episode if I can get one scene where I'm not like, that's weird. And then we just end it with Galadriel boarding the ship as well, right? So like that's the wrap. This episode, it is filler. There's a lot of filler here, but there's a few good moments that, like, I do think, I know people are gonna say no, but I think you could edit down a lot of these episodes and just take the good stuff and get like a half decent, like, mini story.
Cut the whole thing down to 4 episodes.
Right, and only focus on some of the key the key storylines. Yeah, and even like have a bit some more landscape shots and then have some dialogue over that, so that you don't have like some of the shots that just don't look very good, like the one alleyway shot that we keep reusing. Like, we don't need to keep seeing that alleyway. You can have other stuff happening there. Yeah. So all in all, this is kind of a filler episode, but I think there's a few good scenes. Yeah. What's your takeaway here?
I'm hung up on the alleyway. There's one alleyway and everything clandestine.
I'm gonna
happens there.
I'm gonna make a short about that, where we just cut all the alleyway scenes into one little video. It'll be like the title will be like the Numenor alleyway, season 1. Yeah, it's so silly. Even Game of Thrones had like multiple angles for like all their buildings in episode 1, and they had no money. Like, what the heck is going on? Why can't we have another angle? Amazon, why? Why did you not build the full alley? Is it only like half an alley?
Probably. Yeah, it's like because it comes off like a stage play almost.
Right.
They're using the same set, which you would expect on a stage play.
Yeah. But this isn't a stage play. This is $1 billion show. This is the most expensive show of all time.
You know, you should have like maybe 4 or 5 alleyways.
Yeah.
Switch it up.
I mean, heck, look at. I mean, if you look at the Lord of the Rings trilogy, when they're in any of their towns, you got multiple shots of various little walkways and buildings and stuff, and we don't always get the same scene. Even when they're inside, like the hall in Rohan or in Gondor, there's multiple camera angles. You feel like you're inside of a massive building. Here, like I said, it feels like we're watching a stage play happen, and all we see is the one wall. Anyway, yeah, I think that's it for this one. Let us know down below what you thought of this episode. I already know what you guys thought, so you can leave it down if you want. But I guess my question is, does anyone think it's possible to redeem some of these? If you cut out all the crap that you really hate, are any of these things redeemable at all? I know some people say no, but I do think there's a few bits. There's a few actors here really giving decent performances. Sometimes the dialogue is okay. I think there's some stuff here that if they just focused in on that, it would be much better. They just got to figure out what they want to tell, the story they're trying to tell. And right now, it's really confused. I don't even know like what. I know where they end up going, but at this point, when I watched it the first time, I didn't know what the heck direction they were going in, because it's still so confused. Where's the conflict actually coming from, other than orcs versus humans? Are the elves and dwarves gonna have conflict? It seems like it's brewing, but it's kind of weird. Galadriel and Numenor are like on the same page now. Like, it's so confusing. Like, why they choose to disperse key conflict.
Like, the one thing is like one of the reasons Elendil won't take Isildur is because we have so many volunteers.
Right.
We don't need you. But isn't like aren't people like supposed to be kind of against the idea of just listening to some elf?
Right.
So maybe this like mega thing is like way overblown, and way more of Numenor actually likes the elves. I don't know. That's what
it seems like. It's very confusing for us to try to figure out what is happening there, to the point that whenever they need people to not want to join the elves, people are there. Whenever people are wanted to join the elves, they have those people there. Like, it's just, I know there's going to be different factions within a community, but it's just not clear what like the average Numenorian feels. And Isildur is not someone we need to like even look to for guidance here, because he's all over the place. Elendil, his dad, has got his mind made up. The Queen's wishy-washy, Pharazon's wishy-washy, but that's because they're politicians. The people in the streets are like, we hate elves, and then someone comes out and it's like, don't worry, the elves won't be taking your jobs, and they're like, we love the elves. And it's like, is it that easy to win these guys over? Like, they're about to go. They think they're going to war, right? Like it's not like a little boat ride. Like they're going to war, and they're
Maybe
joining up.
they're just raw because like that they haven't had a conflict in hundreds of years, and they're just they want the glory, or I don't know.
See, that would be a fun scene where you've got people in a bar talking about it.
But I mean, Farazan's motivations for the war, because he talks to Kemen about like, Kemen acts like disgusted, like, oh my god. But like Farazan's like, we help the people. I mean, they spin it as like a really bad thing, but Farazan's basically saying like, if we help the people of Middle Earth, then we can like establish trade and et cetera, et cetera. It's not necessarily evil. I mean, that kind of like, yeah, there's. I think it sounds like Kemen's mad that he's not just helping out of the goodness of his heart.
Yeah.
But like trade goes both ways. I mean,
right.
I mean, like maybe there could be like a motivation of like how do you make them still kind of distasteful? Like. Just make it so like, yeah, let's go colonize these low men.
And that's what I kind of thought they were gonna go with, but they didn't. They ended up going with the people of Numenor want to help, and Farazan is like, this will enrich Numenor, so it's good for us. So it's like, oh, so everyone's kind of got not necessarily the most noble.
You could have Galadriel being like more distasteful, like she knows that Numenor's is coming to colonize them anyway, but she doesn't care because it's her chance to get there.
in fact, it would have been a good way for Halbrand to tell her to say that, thus proving Halbrand is smart, like a politician, and like getting her to be a bit more on track with that. Like, there's just so many ways to get where we need to go in almost the exact same way, but with small changes that make more sense. And that's what's frustrating a lot of viewers as well as us, I think. And so yeah, I know that this is a more filler episode, so I know the next episode's going to be much more involved.
The battle, yeah.
But I don't know why they're making some of these decisions, and it does seem like it's to just fool the audience. Like, a lot of these decisions happen because as an audience, we get to witness someone do something, and then it ends up like not really making a whole lot of sense, and that was just for the audience to see. And it, like the characters just being a weirdo for our benefit. It's really strange. But yeah, let us know down below how you guys felt about this episode, and if you have any comments on some of our takes on it, love to read them. See you on the next one.